I was in Ghana recently, and I have to confess to the Nigerian Minister of Finance here, Wale Edun, who's joined us this morning, that the jollof rice was actually better. So I'm sorry. Any thoughts?
I think
don't create an international incident.
I will not create an international incident, but I would say that let me serve you jollof rice when you're next in Nigeria.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We just have you for a few minutes. And Minister, I'd like to ask you, what is your macroeconomic outlook for Nigeria?
We are on the way up. The trajectory from where we are now, relatively stagnant growth for the last few years, but now we have a new team in town. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu won the election in February, and he was sworn in May. And his goal is rapid, sustained, inclusive growth that will lift the country out of poverty, and that will also lift the subcontinent and, in fact, Africa as a whole.
How will you unlock that growth?
Investment. In the past, it has been, as we all know, a reliance on the raw material endowment, a reliance on oil revenues. This time around, it has to be through investment in production in Nigeria. It has to be based on adding value to the raw materials. And by that, you get not just growth, but we are also aiming at inclusive growth. Women, young people.
You mentioned the oil sector. How are you approaching the just energy transition as Nigeria?
I think, Zain, you've said it all. It has to be a just transition. We all know that Nigeria, along with so many other developing countries, is not a major contributor to greenhouse gases and climate pollution and so forth. So in moving to a greener future, cleaner energy, we have gas, and that is accepted as a transition fuel.
What policies are you going to put in place to get there?
We are focusing on gas. We have outlined a decade of gas as what to invest in and what to use. Even we have changed from petrol to CNG and to LNG as a source of transportation fuel. So that's the direction of travel.
The Kenyan president, His Excellency William Ruto, was here at Unstoppable Africa yesterday, and he talks a lot about a new deal for Africa, essentially challenging rating agencies about how they unfairly assess Africa, and the risk on the continent is just too high that leads to stifling growth and high interest rates. What's your view on a new deal for Africa?
I think it's just symptomatic of why perhaps we have not had the investment that we need. There's an asymmetry. So there is a view of Africa, a view of what is on ground in Africa that is different from what is perceived from abroad. So what we do have to have is we, on our own part, I think, have to tell a better story. We have to give more information. So if you want to attract investment, don't just give a one-page analysis of raw materials and opportunities. Dig deep and provide a book of data that allows investors to make a decision to come in and invest.
Is there the political will to do that? To change the entire financial apparatus?
I would say, for one, in Nigeria, definitely there is. And if you look at the African Free Trade Act that has just come into being, I think Africa as a whole has the political will to do what it takes to attract investment, to grow the economy, create jobs, and reduce poverty across the board.
How does Nigeria intend to create jobs?
Investments. We are creating a macroeconomic environment that is stable. To be fair, the stability of the past was usually based on huge oil revenues that allowed one to basically get away with relatively loose monetary policy and so on and so forth. But now we have changed the macroeconomic environment. We have stabilized government revenues by removing some subsidies. Mr. President has been very brave and very forthright in that. He has made the exchange rate situation one in which we are on the path to a freely available foreign exchange for investors both to come in and go out. And that's the path that we are aiming at to take us to sustained, rapid, inclusive growth.
And you mentioned the Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. What's your focus?
Our focus is to be the production hub, not just for the sub-region, but for the continent as a whole. And I might also add that our focus, given our demography, given that we are the largest country by population, we are the largest economy by GDP in Africa, we believe that we have a lot to supply, including skilled labor, to the world. There will come a time when we believe that it will be the people of, will be skilled Nigerians that are doing the work to help people across the world earn their pensions, and it will be a deliberate move. It will not be people escaping poverty in Nigeria. It will be people deciding that they want to go abroad, get some experience, because those who want to stay in Nigeria will have well-paying jobs to be given to them in Nigeria, should they wish to stay and take up that opportunity.
Just one or two more quick things before I know you need to leave. AGOA. Nigeria has been a big beneficiary of AGOA. Yes. Do you think that Africa should seek an extension?
I think that we should not only see an extension of that, but we need access to markets. I think it's only part of them. Earlier we heard about the inequity, and in fact the word cheating was used. But I think that we do need access to markets so that we can produce, add value, and export, earn the foreign exchange that will keep our economies oiled. And it's really an appeal, and we hope it will be heard.
Last question. Why do you believe Africa is unstoppable?
Africa is the future. If you look at the demography, it is young, it is growing, it is vibrant, and I think population is tending, as we move forward, population is actually going to be an asset rather than a drag. And as we have so many aging continents, Africa is the growing continent, is the continent of energy, vibrancy, and creativity. The world is dancing to the African beat. And in particular, I'd just like to end by saying that I believe that Nigeria in particular is the country to tell the African story to the world in all its facets and ramifications.
You know I'm Kenyan, right? I think it's Kenya that can tell all the
Kenya has a part to play, but Nigeria, I think, has a bigger part to play.
All right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. A warm round of applause for the Minister of Finance for Nigeria, Wale Edun, who is going to be cooking for me the next time I come to Nigeria.
Certainly.
No alas there.
Not at all.
Okay.